Welcome to Market Moves with Catamaran Central. This is our second episode of this new series. I'm having a lot of fun kind of trying to make it a better series. I really appreciate all the constructive feedback I got from y'all after the first episode we put out there. As you'll see, I've kind of worked a little bit on my backdrop. I've got a few more prints on order. This one print here, actually, that was a gift that my mom gave me back in 2013, I think it was, when I first went to work at Dennison Yachting and got my first office. That is something really special to me because it was a gift from my mother who's no longer with me. The first person to email info@catamarancentral.com, the name of that beach in the backdrop, I'll have Laura mail you a Catamaran Central swim shirt. Like one of those long sleeve SPF shirts, super comfortable. But first person to email the name of that beach will get a shirt from Laura. But anyways, that's not what this video is about. It's all about creating good, engaging content that you guys find valuable. So a couple of house cleaning items before we jump into the segments of the video. The first thing is, when I'm going through and kind of putting this video together, the boats I'm talking about are kind of the boats I'm having conversations with clients about. So, it might not be the boat you're looking for, or, too big, too small, too expensive, not nice enough, not a boat that you find interesting. But these are the boats that my active clients tend to be gravitating towards, which is kind of where my focus tends to gravitate towards. Now, if there is a boat that you are interested in that we don't talk about, I definitely love to have a conversation. So shoot me an email, leave a comment, all of those good things. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump into the first section, which is all of the boats that are new coming to market. So real quick, before we jump into those boats that are coming to market or that have actually already come to market, there's a few boats that are not on the market yet that I've got listed that are coming this week that I thought are worth mentioning. The first is a 2018 Saona 47, Fountaine Pajot Saona 47 owner's version located down in the Florida Keys. I've got the full build sheet specs we're working on right now. Really nice boat, asking $950,000, which is priced quite competitively based on the state of the current market. We also just got the listing agreement back on a 2013 Leopard 58, 6-cabin layout. The boat's part of a crew charter program in the Virgin Islands. Cash flow positive, really running a good business, and would be a great boat for somebody looking for a larger catamaran to owner operate into crude yacht charter or to put into management. But I'll have more details on that boat later this week, so definitely check back in. But those boats aren't on the market yet. Let's go ahead and talk about boats that are currently on the market. So since the last video, there were 51 new catamarans that hit the market globally, at least on the MLS we use, which is Yacht World or Boat Wizard. But 51 catamarans. There are two that I thought were particularly interesting. So let's go ahead and jump over to those. So the first boat is this 2016 Leopard 40 owner's version. It's on its way here to Fort Lauderdale. All in all, these Leopard 40 owners versions have been incredibly popular boats over the last few years, and for good reason. I mean, it's a good sailing boat. It's reasonably decent performance for its weight. It's extremely comfortable for its size, and it's just a solid design. I've got a really good friend that's actually a broker at another firm who lives aboard a Leopard 40 with his wife full time, and he loves living aboard that boat. This particular boat is well equipped with low hours, generator, air conditioning, freshwater heads, solar panels, pretty much everything you need to cruise up and down the East Coast, as well as head over to the Bahamas. I'll have the full spec sheet in the description down below, just like I will for all of these boats in case I forget to mention that when I'm talking about them. I'll always have the spec sheet and a link in the description down below. The second boat I want to talk about is this Fountaine Pajot Lucia 40. It's a 2020 over in St. Petersburg, Florida, asking $560,000. It's a 4-cabin, 2-head layout, so maybe not exactly the ideal layout for a for a private boat, but it's definitely a great boat for a family with kids or to put back into charter. It's been pretty lightly used. St. Pete's not a huge charter destination. In fact, mostly the boat was used for ASA sailing instruction. So even though it's got a charter history, it is a pretty lightly used boat. Things you'd expect: upgraded motors, decent electronics package, generator, air conditioning, good sail package, tender outboard, etc., etc. So that is the second boat worth talking about. Like I mentioned, we're only talking about the boats that I find interesting as I'm going through. There's just simply not enough time for me to talk about every boat that comes to market. Okay, so the second section, as we talked about last week, is always going to be the price reductions. So for this week, there were 40 price reductions across the board through the MLS. And of those 40, I thought 2 were pretty interesting to talk about. Now, the first one we're going to talk about is this 2013 Leopard 48. I mean, look at that boat. It's absolutely gorgeous. This particular owner, George is his name, is a very active participant in the Leopard 48 owner community. And just seeing all the information that he shares with that community really gives me a level of confidence that this boat is probably one of the nicer, if not nicest, Leopard 48s currently on the market, or really out sailing anywhere for that matter. Now, they did have their price reduction last week. Although I had already filmed the video, put it out there, and then the price reduction happened later in the day. So I did want to talk about the boat today because it is a special boat. Everything you'd expect, like generator, air. That's not a wrap. That's actually a painted hull. I saw the boat on the dock in Palm Beach at one point in time when I was walking the docks, and the paint is absolutely stunning on the boat. Really, really well equipped. I mean, check out let me go back to this photo here. I mean, look at the bowsprit on this thing. It's not a factory sprit. I mean, this boat was set up to sail, and that's exactly what George has done with it. And if you follow any of the stuff on this boat on social media, it'll kind of make you want to gravitate towards it as well. The second boat I want to talk about is a 2022 Leopard 42 owners version located in St. Petersburg, Florida. This particular boat just had a $100,000 price reduction, which probably brings it in line with where what the boat should sell for. I know the first response people get when they see a price like this on this boat or a boat like this is, oh, that's crazy amount of money, blah, 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 blah. Like, I get it, $995,000 for a boat like this seems like a lot of money. The reality of it is you could buy a new boat just like this, equip it just like this boat, and you would be into the boat for about $1 million, right around what they're asking now. What that doesn't take into account, though, is the 18 to 20 month delay on taking delivery of this boat, and then something they never like to talk to you about when you're buying a new boat, and that's the whole warranty, commissioning, and outfitting process. I mean, if your boat's delivered on January 1st, the reality of it is you're probably not getting out there sailing, cruising, enjoying the Bahamas for at least 30 days, if not more than likely 90 to 120 days before you start getting the warranty work completed, commissioning and aftermarket work done, and outfitting. I mean, when you buy a new boat, you literally have to put every knife and fork on that thing. You've got to get every spare part, every tool, etc., etc. So I know in this current market, it seems absolutely crazy paying new boat pricing for a pre-owned boat, but you actually do save a little bit of money, a lot of hassle and headache. And, for somebody like me, I can't speak for all of, you guys out there. If I'm going to spend $1 million on something, or $500,000 or $100,000 or $50,000 for that matter, I'm not really good at waiting and planning ahead. And so the idea of giving Leopard, Lagoon, Fountaine, Pajot, whoever it is, a deposit to order and build a boat, but not be able to get it for 2 to 3 years, or in a case like a Leopard 42, about 20 months, it is a little bit hard. So I think having a boat that's already gone through the process, available now where you could be cruising this summer, definitely has some intangible benefit to at least somebody like me. Maybe not you, but hey, I've never been good with delayed gratification. So those are the two boats that were worth talking about. From there, we're going to jump into sold boats. So in the last 7 days, there were 24 reported sales. Now, to be clear, reported sales, those are sales that happen on soldboat.com, which is kind of the back office for the MLS. It does not account for every catamaran sold. If the boat's not reported to soldboats.com, then the transaction, as far as they're aware, did not occur. So if you ever see a boat that was on market, no longer on, and now it's off market, and you want to get an idea of what that boat actually sold for, definitely reach out. I can find out. I mean, a lot of my clients actually ask me not to publish the price of their boat when they sell it, and the buyers, I should say, because that's something that a lot of buyers feel is their business and no one else's. So if there is a boat that was on the market, no longer on the market, and you want to get to the bottom of what it costs, I'm usually good at finding that out from the listing broker or if it's a boat I sold. But anyways, in the last 7 days, there were 24 boats that sold. The only one that I thought was really interesting was Pride. Now, Pride is an old Lagoon 570 that I've known this boat for probably 10 years. I've been on it a bunch of times. I know a number of captains. In fact, at one point in time, I had the boat listed for sale. I mean, it literally was on and off the market with, I think, 7 different brokers over the last 7 years. And she finally sold. So big shout out to Connor from the Multi-Hull Company for being the guy that did something that so many of us failed at over the years. Now, the reason I wanted to talk about this boat, and I haven't been on it in a while, is she sold for $335,000. And that's a lot of boat for that money. Now, I suspect she's probably due for refit just based on the age and whatnot. So I think the new owner of the boat's probably going to have to sink some money into her. But a boat like this, in my opinion, is definitely worth fixing and investing that money in. I mean, for $500,000, I'm sure is what it would take to buy this at $335 and then have a really well kitted out boat. For $500,000, have a boat of this pedigree. I mean, these old Lagoon 570s are just solid sailing boats, well-built boats, and just a lot of fun. I think it's probably a win for the new owner. So congrats to Connor for selling the boat. Congrats to the new owner. I'll have the full spec sheet and a link down below for this boat as well as all of the other boats that we've talked about. Okay, so the final section of these videos is the question and answer. Ask me anything and I'll try my best to answer. I pulled a few questions here that I'm going to pop up on picture mode. The first one is from Josh Greenlee. He wrote, awesome stuff, Wiley, nice format. Here's a question for you. If the search for an owner's version catamaran comes up empty, would you recommend converting a 4 cabin into a 3? Any issues of structural integrity there? And the answer to that is absolutely not. I would never, ever, ever in a million years take a 4 cabin layout and convert it into a 3 cabin layout. It's really simple. You're not going to do a good job at it unless you take it to a finishing carpenter at a top-notch boatyard in a place like Front Street Marine in Maine or Brooklyn Shipyard, somewhere that would be so astronomically expensive to do it right that financially would not make sense. So the chances are, if you're looking at converting a 4 into a 3, you're probably not taking it to a shipyard of that caliber, which means you're going to end up with a boat that's going to be very, very hard to sell on the back end. Now, the other thing, though, that I would say is, I brought it up, selling it on the back end. I mean, with a converted wonky boat, it's almost impossible to sell them or at least recuperate your costs. I mean, you will sell that boat for below market value because even though you thought you built the perfect owner's stateroom, it's going to be really hard to find that special buyer that really thinks that what you did is right. So I definitely wouldn't advise doing that. Now, what I do tell a lot of clients that I would do in this type of situation is convert one of those cabins into like a laundry / storeroom. I mean, we've all followed, the O'Kellys. They did a beautiful job on Clarity. I've seen a lot of really, really nice conversions done by clients. Brady's a client that bought a Leopard 44 a couple years ago from me. And he and his wife, Katrina, did an amazing job converting the port forward cabin into just a really functional storeroom, yet it can always be converted back to a factory configuration. So do you need to use 4 staterooms? No. Can you convert one into like a workshop storeroom? Absolutely. That would be advised. But to go down the route of cutting a 4-cabin boat and try to convert it into a 3-cabin boat, absolutely horrible idea. In fact, there was that YouTube channel a few years ago. I can't remember their name. I think it was like Jessica and Ryan Sailing Adventures, something like that. I don't think they're posting much anymore. I haven't seen their stuff in quite a while. But they had bought like a Lagoon 380 or 410, and they chopped out one of the hulls to try to create a owner's layout, and it just looked like a disaster to me. But hey, what do I know? So that was the first question. Thank you so much, John. The second question, I'll go back to picture-in-picture mode here, was from Doug Martyr, and he wrote, I have a couple of questions for you. What did we not see at the Annapolis and Miami shows that is on display at Le Grand Mont? What is the latest news on the new line of catamarans you were talking about at the Annapolis Boat Show back in October? So 2 questions there. This past year was my first time going to the multi-hull show at Le Grand Mont, and it was, I don't know if I'll go back again, to be honest. I mean, it was not the nicest boat show. The weather wasn't that great, but I mean, even that, I just didn't find Le Grand Mont to be that enjoyable of a seaside community. Definitely not my favorite place in France. That all being said, I didn't go there to go sightseeing. I went there to look at catamarans. So what did they have there that they didn't have at Annapolis or Miami? Pretty much every European go fast or semi-custom boat that we never see in America was on display at Le Grand Mont. I mean, yes, we saw the H&H catamarans. Had a lot of fun hanging out with my friends from H&H. It was good getting to know Seth, the new president for the sales division, a little bit better. Really cool guy. I'm sure a lot of y'all followed him through his YouTube channel. Aside from that, we had all of the cool French builders. I mean, Marsidian, or however you pronounce it, Windello, which honestly, go off on a tangent here, I think that boat is quite possibly one of the ugliest boats built, the Windello. I love the concept. I think the fit and finish is okay. I don't think it's on par with like a semi-custom boat. I think it's more of like a production boat in terms of overall build quality. But I just think it's ugly, really, really ugly. And I don't really understand it. So I'm sure I'll get pushed in the dock at the Cannes Boat Show by somebody from there. But what else was there that was really cool? So the new Katana, I went on that. That was really neat. I think they're borrowing a little bit too much from the Bali production method in the new Katana. So the boat did feel a little bit lighter in construction and not lighter in a performance way. Just some of the areas there was flex where I think there probably shouldn't have been flex. Went on the new Outremer, which I had been on that boat before, and that's a really, really cool boat. So anyways, backing up to the original question, Doug, what was at Le Grand Mont that's not at the American shows? And that's all the badass European performance catamarans. Now, the second part of your question was about Sea Catamarans, which is the Italian brand that we're the North American dealers to. It was a great show with Sea Catamarans. We had 237 sails on display, the 48 sail as well as the 40 power. And we actually had a lot of Americans there at the show, which is our territory for Sea Catamaran. And super, super positive. More time I spend with the builders of that boat, the more excited I get about the product. I think from a price, because everything's always a compromise in a boat. And I think when you look at price, performance, build quality, I think they find a really, really good job to achieve all of those without compromising in one area too much. So definitely a lot of really, really neat things happening with Sea Catamaran. The 56 hull tooling is done. We're trying to finalize the deck layout, salon layout. It's just been a lot of fun being involved in that project. Okay, so the third question that we're going to answer, and then we're going to call it a day, is from Michael Ryan, and he asked, can we get a quick pano on the Porsche behind you? So you probably wondered in the last video why I've got this Porsche. We're going to do a quick pano of it. And the reason is, since I was about 12 years old, the Porsche 911 has always been my dream car. You know, it's just the most badass car in the world, especially the air-cooled years, you know, up to 1997. My dream one day is to actually order a new 911 and do a European pickup. That's one of the things that motivates me to work hard. Maybe I'll achieve that goal and that dream one day. Maybe I won't. But that Lego model there is a good example of, you know, not only do I love what I do, but kind of what am I working for? And yeah. So anyways, there you have it. I'm going to keep trying to do these videos at least once a week. If you guys have any more feedback on the video, please leave a comment down below, shoot me an email. And as always, if you like what I have to say, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Thanks and have a good day.